He ripped the khaki sweatband from his head, and it was immediately obvious that only the section visible to the eye was still whole. The rest had been torn into strips during the night, each one carefully plaited, the whole joined together in a crude rope. He quickly fastened it under his arms and passed a loop around his neck, placing the loose end in his teeth. He braced his back against one wall of the pit and his feet against the other, working his way up until he could reach out and touch the bamboo slats. He took the tail of the rope from between his teeth and passed it around two of the slats, tying it securely. Silence, only the rain falling. He was aware of the sergeant's approach from a long way off. He waited, letting the seconds pass, then kicked his feet away from the wall and dropped, at the same time crying out. The bamboo dipped above his head, his body bounced and swung. He turned his head to one side so that the line of the rope was visible across his neck and half closed his eyes, the rope cutting under his arms as it supported his weight. He knew the sergeant was above him now, heard the man's cry of dismay as he knelt, pulling a combat knife from his boot, reaching through the slats to sever the rope. Egan let himself fall hard, bouncing against the wall and collapsing in a heap in the water and filth below. He lay there, waiting, aware of the slats being pulled back above, the bamboo ladder being lowered. The sergeant came down quickly and crouched. "You stupid bastard," he said, turning him over. Egan's two hands came in from each side, perfectly pointed in a phoenix fist, centre knuckles extended, targeting the neck below each ear. The sergeant never had time to cry out. A slight groan, the eyes rolled, and he was immediately unconscious. Egan had the man's jump boots off in moments, pulled them on and fastened them quickly. Then he crammed the camouflage cap with the red star down low over his eyes and went up the ladder cautiously. The clearing was deserted. There was a drift of smoke above the trees, which would be the house. He knew that from his first interrogation. Down through the woods was the river, perhaps a quarter of a mile. Once across and he was safe, clear through to the mountains beyond. He picked up the AK and looked out across the wood at their snow-capped peaks, then started down through the trees. There was a tripwire within 50 yards, which he negotiated carefully, another a few feet further on, so close that they'd calculated it would not be expected. Egan stepped over it and moved through the waist-high bracken, soaked with rain. Getting out wasn't enough. Staying out was the hard part, an old SAS maxim that rang in his head as the trees on his right exploded. Not a landmine. If it had been, he'd be lying in pieces. More likely an alarm charge triggered by an electronic I-beam at ground level. All this was amply confirmed when a hooter echoed mournfully through the trees from the direction of the farmhouse. He tightened his grip on the AK, holding it across his chest, and raced through the bracken. He sensed movement on his left, and a figure in camouflage battle dress came out of the trees, head down, to meet him. As they converged, Egan swerved, dropping to one knee, the other leg stretched out. The man tripped and Egan came up, kicked him in the side of the head and ran. There was pain in his left knee, but if anything it sharpened him, and he kept on going, faster as the hillside steepened, the bracken almost jungle-high here. He burst out into a small clearing as 3 more soldiers came out of the trees on the other side. He went in on the run, never hesitating, loosing off a burst from the AK. Swinging the butt in one man's face, shouldering another aside, he carried on through the trees, very fast, too fast, losing his balance. He picked himself up and started forward. The sound of a helicopter was somewhere close at hand, but the weather was on his side, and the bird wouldn't dare to come too low. Through a break in the trees he could see the river, half obscured by mist and rain. There was a tightness in his chest, and the pain in his left knee was like fire, but he kept on going, sliding farther down the steep bank that brought him at last to the river. As he picked himself up, someone leapt from the bracken and drove the butt of a rifle into his kidneys. Egan arched backwards in pain, and the rifle came round in a second, braced against his throat. He dropped his AK and ran the heel of his right boot down the man's shin. There was a cry, and as the pressure of the rifle was released, he jerked his head back hard into the face behind, following this with a short, savage blow with his left elbow. As he turned, the knee let him down finally, the leg collapsing under him as the soldier, his face a mask of blood from the broken